Good morning, y'all. So today is one of our first cold mornings, so we're taking advantage of it and sitting outside. It is super bright, but it's colder. But it's not too bad. It's actually pretty nice. We've got the little chickies out.
I have my cinnamon toast with bananas in it.
She's eating cinnamon toast oatmeal with bananas. I've already had 2 cups of coffee, so I've moved on to some tea now. Something to warm me up. We are gonna let the animals out for a little bit to enjoy the sunshine and then go pick up some feed, some hay. Well, not some hay, some bedding to go in with the little chicks, and then pick up just a few groceries to get us through until next week. We have quite a bit of what we need. We just need a few fresh items, and then next week we'll go ahead and do another big, like I say big, semi-big bulk for more milk and bread and just fruits and vegetables and maybe some meat. But right now we have plenty of meat. Just and cat Roux needs another cat collar. She rips them off. We don't even, I know it's controversial, but we don't even put the regular collar on her anymore. I just do the little flea collar, and luckily we usually get a couple weeks out of those before she rips it off. Like, she is the best at getting them off. So we need to pick her up another one of those.
Yeah. She always gets her paw in it.
Yeah.
She's always walking around like this.
Yeah. Show them how Roux does when she gets a new collar and she gets herself stuck in it.
Yeah.
How does she do?
Like she
Yeah.
has it like over her nose and her paw in it, trying to lift it over her head and into the ground, onto the ground, dig a hole, and then put it in there, cover it up.
Yeah. So, and we don't want her getting stuck in it and getting hurt. So we don't even do the regular collars. We've tried. We did fancy ones. We did some just plain ones with her her vet tags and stuff on them. And then at this point, we've got so many buried around in the yard. I mean, you'd think she's a dog with the way she buries stuff, but we're going to sit and enjoy our tea, get a lesson or two done before we head to town. And this cold won't stick around for very long. Not yet, at least. So let's get going. As you can probably tell, we're going to make some broccoli and cheese soup. In the spirit of 100% dump and go, I will not be making a roux for this like I usually do. And we also won't be chopping up fresh onion because I want to try and make this as simple and go-to as possible, especially for those that might not have a slow cooker that also sautés and everything down in it. So we are going to try this out together and also see how editing the recipe to fit what we have works out for us. So I turned my slow cooker on high, and I'm going to drop in 1 stick of butter. Now I am cutting the butter in half just because we don't need the extra butter to saute our onion this time, but I do still want it for the flavor of everything. So to our slow cooker, we're going to drop in 3 16-ounce bags of frozen broccoli. And you see, I use the kind with the stalks, the stems, everything. And although this is super full right now, it will shrink down really quickly. I'm also going to add in 1 16-ounce bag of carrots. You can use crinkle cut, baby carrots, whatever you have, because we will end up blending some of this in the end, so size and texture at this point does not matter. So in place of our fresh onion, we're going to use minced onion. If you don't have minced onion, you could also use onion powder. So for every medium onion the recipe would call for, you want about 3 tablespoons of minced onion. So we want 6 total for this recipe. And all this is dried pieces of onion. Now, if you're using onion powder, you'll do 1 medium onion to 1 tablespoon of onion powder. That makes it super easy to remember. Next up, I want 1 teaspoon of paprika, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of minced garlic, 1.5 tablespoons of chicken bouillon powder. If you don't have chicken bouillon powder, then just simply substitute the water that we're going to use for chicken broth. So we're going to add in 5 cups of water, and that's all. We're going to close the lid, and we're going to let this cook on low throughout the whole day. And when we come back about 30 minutes before we get ready to serve, we'll blend everything up and add our dairy to this. I just want to show y'all that at about an hour in, we've got all that juice and everything, and our frozen veggies are starting to thaw. So I just want to give this a little stir just to make sure those seasonings are simmering with the veggies, and we're getting it all down in there. Now, if you're setting this, doing the old set it and forget it, and you're not home, don't worry, that's not a must-do, necessary, have-to-do step, but just so I can get everything down in there. Alright, y'all, so our soup has been simmering away for about 6 hours now, and everything is all softened up. I'm just going to use my immersion blender to go in here and blend up some of this broccoli and carrots. Now, you could most definitely do this without an immersion blender. You can just use a regular blender, or chop your broccoli super small, like in small chunks, before you drop it in. This will, using the immersion blender, will just chop up these big, huge chunks, and it'll also help thicken our soup as well as make it nice and creamy. So as you can see, it's not the most beautiful color, but it's nice and creamy already and thick. We are going to add our dairy now. Typically, I would use about 4 cups of half and half. However, I pulled my half and half out and it had already gone bad. So I'm using about 1 cup of heavy cream. And then I'm going to add in what I have left of my whole milk. If all else fails and we need some extra creaminess to this dish, I could add in some cream cheese if we wanted, or we even have some powdered milks, like some dry milk that we use in our shelf mixes. So I could add that in also, but I think we'll be fine with that part. We'll taste test in a few minutes. And here's the super fun part. We're going to add in 4 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. Just going to mix this in. The warmth of our soup should melt this pretty quickly. And this is why we only started with those 2 teaspoons of salt in the beginning, because our cheese would be nice and salty. And then in just a few minutes, we'll go back and taste test and add in whatever extra seasonings we need. So if you're like me and you don't want to mess up a measuring cup that you'll have to wash, in this case, you don't have to. An 8-ounce block of cheese is a little over 2 cups shredded. So I just did 16 ounces of cheese, and we'll have a little bit extra, and that's okay. I'm going to give this a little taste test. So I'm going to add just a little bit of chili powder. I know I saw someone else do this somewhere before, and I think I've done it once or twice before also, but maybe like 1/4 teaspoon just to give it some smokiness. I'm going to add a little bit more salt, and I want a little bit of pepper. The kids are so excited for this. We went to pick Thatcher up from school, and Eleanor was already telling him, like, oh, guess what we're having tonight? So that's why I made a double batch of this also. But they're already looking forward to having some soup. Plus, we got some really big thunderstorms yesterday and last night. So the weather's kind of cooling off. I don't know that it'll stay that way, but it's perfect weather for some broccoli cheese soup. All right, yummy. I'm going to toast up our bowls, and we're going to have dinner.
Yay.
Okay, y'all, as simple as that, dinner is done. We didn't have to use any extra cornstarch or anything. By blending our broccoli and our carrots and everything together, it thickened it up perfectly. So we are going to sit down and enjoy our broccoli soup in our little bread bowls.